What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Sky, also known as Lil Piglet, and welcome to the Call of Duty League Crash Course. You may already be an enjoyer of the CDL, a previous watcher who dropped off, or completely new to the scene, but regardless, by the end of this video, you will have an overview of everything you're going to need to know to fully immerse yourself in the COD League this year. As an esport with some of the most interesting storylines, fiery rivalries, and continuous evolution, you're going to want to lock in for the 2023 to 2024 season kicking off this Friday. But before we look at what's to come, let's quickly look back at the moments that propelled Call of Duty into one of the most entertaining esports we have today. Now, historically, Call of Duty's popularity was always dominated by its engaging single-player campaigns and multiplayer modes. It wasn't until 2007, with the release of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, that there was a turning point for the series and competitive play. In 2008, the introduction of platforms like Gamebattles, a platform for online gaming tournaments, played a huge role in fostering competitive Call of Duty. Players and teams would start to organize themselves to compete, which encouraged an influx of online tournaments. Now, recently, Gamebattles did announce that they'll be shutting down the platform after 2 years of existing, an announcement that was felt on the hearts of many that were a part of its growth. But Gamebattles will always be known as a catalyst for the rapid growth of the competitive scene, and the flames of this growth continue to be fanned by none other than Major League Gaming, the first ever televised video gaming league, which played a pivotal role in elevating Call of Duty esports. MLG began hosting LAN events, bringing the best teams to compete in person. Now, you can imagine these LAN events led to some of the most dramatic storylines and team roster shakeups that are still talked about today. Many players made a name for themselves, and dynasty teams were formed, representing the peak of skill when it comes to Call of Duty. This era led to one of the most monumental acquisitions we have seen in COD history, which was Activision buying MLG and launching the Call of Duty World League in 2016. The CWL introduced a more, formalized structure, featuring a regular season, playoffs, and a championship event at the end of each year. All of a sudden, these young and budding players who were competing on Gamebattles for a few $1,000s were now competing to win hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. I mean, at this point, the COD competitive scene was at its peak, viewership numbers were at its highest, with Twitch being the main broadcast platform showcasing each event. And new talented players were grinding their way up to get a spot in the league. But some people did start to wonder what would be next for the comp scene, and would there be more? Well, in 2020, those questions were answered. The Call of Duty League, now known as the CDL, transitioned competitive COD into a franchised model similar to traditional sports. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, what exactly does that mean? 12 city-based teams, each with a distinct identity, joined the league, encouraging spectators to get behind their home teams representing their specific city. Now, at the time, a lot of people were excited about this, but with the CDL now being limited to only 12 teams, an influx of talented players who were previously in the Pro League were now at risk of dropping out of competitive Call of Duty altogether. To soften this blow though, the CDL created a path to Pro Avenue by introducing the Challenges circuit. Aspiring players who aim to make their mark in the CDL were now given a platform to showcase their skills, compete in tournaments, and potentially earn a spot on a professional CDL roster. Many ex-pros have also seen the Challenges circuit as their redemption arc, proving why they deserve a spot back in the CDL. On top of that, organizations have also taken an interest in the Challenges circuit by signing teams and supporting these players whilst they focus on their competitive careers. Okay, so now that we know the origins of the Call of Duty competitive scene, let's look at the things that are going to shape our viewing experience as a whole. Remember when I mentioned there were 12 city-based teams? Well, here they are. The official participating teams of the 2023 to 2024 CDL season are Atlanta FaZe, Boston Breach, Carolina Royal Ravens, LA Gorillas, LA Thieves, Miami Heretics, Minnesota Rocker, New York Subliners, Seattle Surge, Texas Optic, Toronto Ultra, and Vegas Legion. Now, each of these teams have a roster of 4 players with specific roles to play during each game. These roles typically include 2 submachine players, a main assault rifle player, and a flex player that will switch between an AR and sub depending on the map and mode being played. Each year, it's super common that players are dropped, swapped, and picked up, changing the dynamic of each team. This year was no different, with many of the teams making changes to their roster in an attempt to form the best performing team that they can. Now, since the CDL was formed, there have been 4 championship winners so far. Dallas Empire, who eventually merged with Optic to form Optic Texas in 2021, they ended up winning the first ever championship since the CDL started. Since then, Atlanta FaZe, LA Thieves and New York Subliners have all solidified themselves as champions leading up to this season. And if you didn't believe me about how rosters can change, I can confirm that none of these teams have the exact same roster that they did in the previous year. If you've ever played Call of Duty yourself, you'll know that matches consist of various maps and modes with differentiating characteristics. The CDL, usually along with the pro player's input, choose 3 of these game modes and several maps that will be played in a best of 5 format. This year, the modes are Hardpoint, Search and Destroy and Control. Hardpoints consist of predetermined areas on the map that change every 60 seconds. For every second a team is within the hardpoint, 1 point will be added to their score. Now the aim of each team is to be the first to secure 250 points, or just have more points than their opponent by the end of the timer. Now teams have to strategize how they'll rotate, hold, and break a hardpoint using teamwork and overall gun skill to gain an edge. Search and Destroy is pretty much a crowd favorite, loved amongst so many players around the world, and it's a round-based game mode with a much slower and methodical feel. Each player has 1 life per round with the objective of either planting or defusing a bomb located at one of 2 bomb sites on the map. Each round has a time limit to either plant, defuse, or kill the opposing team, which requires a high level of planning and countering your opponent. And the first team to win 6 rounds will be the winner of the map. And finally, we have Control, another round-based game mode with lives limited to 30 on each team every round. Teams will take turns attacking and defending 2 points within the time limit. Attacking teams win the round by capturing both objective points, whereas defending teams win by preventing the attacking team from taking their points. Both teams can also win by eliminating the opposing team completely, dwindling their lives from 30 to 0. The first to 3 round wins will be the winners of the map. Throughout the year, teams will study every single opposing team in the CDL, preparing for each matchup during the season. Now, the format this year consists of 4 LAN major tournaments located in a different city each time. The participating cities will be Boston, Miami, Toronto, and Carolina. Teams are awarded CDL points for every match win at these majors. These CDL points will be tallied and used to create the seeding for champs at the end of the year. Each major will also have its own prize pool, greatly increasing the stakes and encouraging teams to play their best. Team seedings going into the majors will be determined by head-to-head group play matches held online over the course of 4 or 5 qualifying weeks leading up to each major. So all in all, we're about to enter an insanely packed year of competitive Call of Duty, with the first week of qualifying matches being played this week Friday. At the time of me recording this video, it's still quite unclear if these tournaments will be broadcasted on Twitch or YouTube, which has been quite a controversial topic as of late in the community. But if you do want to stay up to date with all things CDL, make sure you check out the Too Good cast featuring myself, Timo Too Good and Statics Wars, where we'll be discussing all things Call of Duty. And of course, please subscribe to my channel for more Call of Duty content as well. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you did. And I hope everybody's ready to enter the 2023 to 2024 COD season. May the best team win. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.